our laser table compared to our plasma table. Let's talk about consumables, show you the difference between the two and what we've kind of noticed with them. Starting with the laser, you end up with different size nozzles. So you've got your double nozzle and you've got your single nozzle. Your double nozzles are like a low pressure, mostly for oxygen, and while the single is air or nitrogen, just high pressure. You also have lenses. What you find is with the tips and the lenses, if you have a file, let's say it's just 1/8 inch material that you're cutting all the time, that stuff will last forever. You're not changing those lenses out, you're not changing that nozzle out. You just cut and cut and cut. Doesn't really matter how many pierces you're going through. As long as your concentric is right or your laser is centered, everything seems to be fine on that consumable. In comparison to our plasma table, which uses the nozzles and our tips here, like our 45 amp and our 65 amp consumables, our fine cut consumables. An electrode and a tip like this is usually good for 1,500, 2,000 pierces. So depending on how many pierces you have on a sheet will determine how often you have to replace these. Now our other plasma table also runs these sink cartridges, and these sink cartridges, depending on how dry your air is, you're looking at 1,000 to 1,500. We've gotten close to 2,000 pierces on one of these cartridges, but it's about 50 bucks to replace them. Comparison, you're looking, what we've noticed, and keep in mind, guys, we're cutting every day, but we're not experts at it. There are some variables sometimes that will determine how fast you go through consumables, but cheaper is the laser. The lenses and those tips are really inexpensive, and there's no set limits on the number of pierces that you'll get out of them. They'll just keep running and running unless you run into problems. Maybe if you have an issue that causes one to fail, yes, obviously you have to replace it for about $11, replace the lens. While the plasma table, usually around 2,000 pierces is what we're getting out of a set of consumables. You're looking at about $50 every time you change them. And we have a couple sheets that are over 2,000 pierces. Dry air, there's tons of variables, don't get me wrong, that determine that. But so far in our shop, what we find on consumables, the laser is cheaper to run on those consumables.